Is Selkirk falling behind? Is the Amp Pro worth it? And should you buy? Stay tuned to find out. First, let's get some specs out of the way. The handle length of this paddle is 5.25 inches. The grip circumference is 4.25 inches. This is a 16 millimeter thick paddle. The shape is elongated. I specifically used the Invicta shape. The swing weight of this paddle is 118, with the twist weight being 5.9. The Amp Pro has a polymer honeycomb core with a fiberglass face utilizing paint grit. This is an all-court paddle, and Selkirk has a lifetime warranty. This paddle retails for $180. This paddle felt very at home to me, as I gamed the Vanguard Power Air for 6 months when I started playing pickleball. In all honesty though, I was not really looking forward to this release, as the Project 005 flopped in its Selkirk Labs release, which is Selkirk's testing program where you can pay a little bit more for paddles to get them early and submit R&D feedback. I have done this for their Project 002, 003, and 006. Then Selkirk takes that feedback and will release a modified version of that project at a lower price to the public and big box stores. I chose to skip the 005 because even back then, it just did not seem exciting, but more on that later. This paddle gets good spin, with my test coming in at 1,860 RPMs. This is definitely lower than what we have been seeing from carbon fiber and Kevlar faces this year, or now even titanium, but out of the box, it seems to perform fine. However, because of the reliance on the paint grit for its spin, this is known to wear down in just 1 to 2 months if you are playing regularly, sometimes even faster than that, which is disappointing with the technology other companies are innovating with to help spin last longer. Selkirk, for some reason, seems to be stuck on the surface material, which clearly is becoming dated. The sweet spot on this paddle is pretty small. This was very similar to my Power Air, where I had to put lead tape near the bottom half of this paddle to have any forgiveness at all. This is one of the biggest downsides of having an edgeless paddle, but my serves felt really solid, and I really liked the way my drives and overheads perform. I also was able to control my resets pretty well with this paddle. The handle is a little short for two-handed backhands and drives, but it is doable with putting a finger on the back of the paddle. In summary, the performance of this paddle isn't bad, but it's also not great, especially when you compare its hollow wood-like feeling to current thermoform paddles on the market. I just don't know why you would choose a worse feeling paddle with at best equal performance to majority of the thermoform all-court paddles on the market today. Selkirk's lineup is getting a little oversaturated in my opinion. The easy category to point out is that Selkirk currently has 4 control paddles in their lineup, this being the Halo Control, the Amped Control, the Vanguard Control, and the Lux Control Air. In 2024, when everything seems to be about power, this is a bold choice for Selkirk. All in all, I think they should consolidate, as they seem to repeat in their lineup and have very little to no innovation as of late. Even Selkirk Labs hasn't announced anything in a while. Now back to the Amped Pro Air. This paddle falls right in between the Selkirk Power Air and the Selkirk Lux Control Air, or Project 003 as I have here. The Selkirk Power Air is 13 millimeters thick, the Amped Pro Air is 16 millimeters thick, and the Selkirk Lux Control Air is 20 millimeters thick. To put it simply, in the edgeless paddle category with the hole in the paddle, the Power Air is the power paddle, the Amped Pro Air is the all-court option, and the Lux is the control option. Now, the question that a lot of you are probably going to be asking is the Vanguard Power Air versus the Amped Pro Air. These paddles are incredibly similar, and they should be. The Amped Pro Air is basically just a thicker version of the Power Air. Just in this case, they go by different names. Think of it like the 13mm and a 16mm option that most paddles offer. Just in this case, Selkirk lowered the price from $250 for the Power Air to $180 for the Amped Pro Air. The Power Air has a swing weight of 112, and the Amped Pro has a swing weight of 118. The Amped Pro Air has a slightly better feel than the Power Air and provides more control. I felt like my serves and drives were more solid and a little more powerful on the Amped Pro Air than my Power Air, but the Power Air is poppier and excels at the net with speed-ups and counters. The Amped Pro Air is more forgiving, which helps on the control shots, and it has better touch when dinking at the net. Between these two paddles, I would say the Amped Pro Air is a much better option for the price and performance. If there's one thing that Selkirk is still excelling at, it's the design of their paddles. They have tons of options and provide uniquely designed paddles with their signature cutout hole in the bottom of the paddle face. Selkirk did have to move on from their white colorway option on their paddle faces, as the PPA and other tournaments have a rule for the pros that yellow and white faces are not allowed in tournament play, or they could be asked to be removed if the competitor has an issue with it. Simply put, this rule is put in place because players have issues seeing the ball coming off of paddle faces. This is why we have seen a pivot to Selkirk doing paddles with the entire paddles being one color versus a mix with white, which in all honesty, I think has helped the look of their paddles. Although I do not know how white was a bigger issue than the somehow approved bright green paddle I've been playing with over the past few weeks. It seems they have made a paddle to match each variation of a bag that they sell, but I do personally really like the pop and how much that these stand out. However, I think Selkirk is very well aware of this, and that is why they are sticking to the paint grit surface, as it makes it easier for their paddles to market in big box stores. One hope I have is maybe that we see Selkirk utilize some Kevlar faces in the future, as Kevlar can come in many colors unlike carbon fiber. We probably won't see this, but I can dream. My opinion is going to be just a simple no. I am a huge Selkirk fan. I used to buy every new release, including the Labs iterations, but Selkirk just seems to be falling behind. And either they don't care, or they are just choosing to settle with okay paddles that are priced too high for the technology they provide. Or where it seems they are capitalizing is in the big box retailers selling the products, and their designs and name recognition alone is enough for them to maintain a high number of sales. I've been extremely disappointed in Selkirk in the past year, and in all honesty, this channel probably wouldn't even exist if they had come out with something really good in the last year. It forced me to look elsewhere when my paint grit kept wearing off and I had significantly less spin after 2 months than my competitors. Now, if you love the Power Air and are still choosing to use it, I do think this is a very solid option for you. It's an improved Power Air with a new name, better control, better design, and at a cheaper price. But if you are just starting or are not currently gaming a Power Air, I would urge you strongly to look elsewhere. My closing thoughts are Selkirk is so important to pickleball and its growth. It helped me get into the game, and I appreciate all they do greatly. However, I hope they take the feedback from myself and hopefully others that we want to see some newer innovation like Yola attempted this year with the Gen 3s. It doesn't even have to be about achieving more power like most paddles are this year, but let's at least see that you are trying something new and not release paddles a year after they should have come to market. I am really rooting for Selkirk, and if you are a fan, I hope you are also. If you have purchased the Amp Pro Air already, I would love to hear why and how you are liking it. Outside of that, if you have any feedback for me, I would love to read it down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.